Hi, everybody. This is Derek with the Victory Branch Library, and we're starting week 2 of Coder Dojo here in our summer series. So, welcome back, and thanks for joining us again. We will be starting a new project this week, and if you haven't done week 1 yet, I highly recommend that you watch that video before you get started on this one today. Both today and last week's videos should be accessible through the library website. So with that said, we'll go ahead and move forward with today's project. And today's project is going to be a game, and it's called Deep Sea Sushi. So this one is going to incorporate a couple different computer science concepts, and it'll be a good way to get some hands-on experience with things like loops, conditionals, and variables. So what we're going to do is get started, but before that, I'd like to show you what the project is in its finished state, and I'm going to just hop over here to the Raspberry Pi website, and this is the game we're going to be making here. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on this little green flag, and our game starts. And I am the shark there, and I'm controlling him with the directional arrow keys on my keyboard, my computer keyboard, and trying to get that fish here for that sushi snack. So as you notice, the fish keeps hopping around randomly, and also up in the left corner there, you can see a little score that's being kept each time you eat a fish. Each time the shark eats a fish, the score should go up a point. Okay, so pretty basic, but again, it's going to give us some good hands-on with some different computer science concepts and that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and hop over now to the Scratch website, and I'm going to just go back over here to give you the web address in case you need it for the Scratch website, scratch.mit.edu. And week 1, there was a portion of the week 1 video where I walked you through creating an account on the Scratch website for free, and that's important because it can help you keep all of your projects on file. For each week we do a new project and that kind of thing. So, and it's a great website. It's a great resource. There's lots of other examples that people have created and coded and shared for you to browse, and that's a lot of fun. Okay, so hopefully you're over on the Scratch website now, and go ahead and sign in here. You should have already created your Scratch account. If not, the Join Scratch button is there, and the sign in is right here. So we're going to go ahead and sign in. And looks like I need to redo that. Okay, and then once you're in, you'll want to go up here on the main menu in the blue to create. And that'll get us onto our development environment there in Scratch. Okay, so there's our main screen in Scratch, and Scratchy the cat is hanging out there, but we don't need him for today's project. So you can go ahead and in the lower right corner down here, click on the little Scratchy in the box, the little sprite there, and the trash can icon. Click on that, and that should take him away. So we will see him another day. But for now, we're going to just create everything from Scratch here in Scratch. So first off, we're going to create a backdrop scene for our new game. And to do that, you're going to want to go over here to the lower right corner to the stage area, and from the pop-up menu, you're going to click on choose a backdrop. And there's actually a category up here on the main menu for underwater, so click on that, and you've got two choices there. So either one will do. And I'm going to go with the underwater one there, background. And once you click on that, it should automatically load onto your stage here in your Scratch program, okay? And before we do anything else, just for good habit, we should go ahead and name this project and save it so we don't lose our work. So go over here in the middle, upper middle part of the menu, the blue menu, and click over here in this field, in this box, and you can type in a name for your project, so it can be whatever you want. And I'm going to just go with the official name there, Deep Sea Sushi. Put my name by it, and then I'm going to hit the enter key. Okay, so that means that this project has been named and is saved on my account. So I'll be able to access this from now on whenever I log into my Scratch account. Okay, and it's going to keep all the changes and things that I do as I'm working today. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into the project, and now we need a shark for our game. So we're going to go down here to the lower right corner to the sprite button there, and click on choose a sprite. And there are a ton of animals, people, all kinds of things in here. We're going to want to just narrow it down, so you can click on animals. And from this menu, you should be able to find some sea creatures. And there is a couple of sharks there to choose from. I'm going to go with this guy here. And he named Shark 2. Okay, so once you choose your creature, it should pop up on the stage there, and you should also have a small sprite there in the box. And that's what you're going to want to select every time we're doing our coding. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some coding here so we can get this shark to swim around in the water. So in order to do that, you're going to want to go over here on the code tab, and we're going to want to go to the events button there. And from the blocks here, you're going to want to choose the win space key block, drag it over here to the center. All right. And then we're going to go to the motion button there, and we're going to choose the move 10 steps block. Drag that over there. Okay, so right now, the top block there, it shows when space key is pressed, and that's referring to the space key on your computer keyboard. We're going to want to choose a different key for this guy to move around. And if you look on your keyboard, you should have 4 arrows pointing in different directions on your keyboard. We're going to code each of those keys to move him in the direction that arrow is pointing to. So for starters, we can go with when the right arrow key is pressed, he's going to move 10 steps. So go ahead and change that, and then try it out. You can click on the block of code, and you should see him moving. But better yet, I would look down on your computer keyboard and click on the right arrow key on your keyboard, and you should see the same thing. He should be moving around there, okay? All right, so he's kind of getting away from us, so you can go ahead and just take your mouse pointer and just click and drag him back over here to the center. All right, and we'll do something to fix that more a little bit later so he's not going off the screen. All right, so we've got him going to the right, but we don't have him going up or down or to the left. So from here, it's pretty easy. We're just going to duplicate what we just did with these first two blocks of code. Go ahead and choose another block. And then this one's going to be for the left arrow. And I'll get the motion here first. Okay. And then we're going to, actually, I'm going to stop here for a minute, and we're going to actually change the number for the left arrow. And we're going to change that number to a negative number. It's going to be minus 10 steps. And I want to talk about what that means, why there's a minus there. So for a moment here, I'm just going to click over here on this other tab and take a look at this. We're going to talk a little bit for a minute about the X and Y positions. You're going to see those a lot in our project. So if you're not already familiar with an X and Y axis, real quickly, the X and Y's that it's referring to are actually on an axis that you can't see right now when you're working in Scratch. And I have a little graphic here that I just loaded so you can get a little visual. But if you look closely, there's a cross going from left to right or horizontal, and then there's the other part of the cross is going up and down vertical. And if you notice, there's a minus Y and a plus Y on the vertical line there, and then there's a minus X and a plus X on the horizontal. Okay, so let's go ahead, and there's a scratchy here, and if I scoot him around down here next to the sprite box, there is a small X, and then there's a small Y there, and those are showing you the positions he's at. There's a number value that you'll see there for the Y and for the X. And as you drag around your sprite, those numbers are going to change. So for example, right now, I just dragged him over here, and down here in the box, it shows his X position, or his position, his horizontal position is at minus 129, okay? And if you'll notice here, there's a minus or negative X here next to him. And his Y position, his vertical position here, is showing 42, and there's no minus there, so that means he's up here on this side of the Y. Okay. If we were to drag him down here, then guess what? His Y position is a negative number here. It's negative 136, and his X position, his horizontal position there is minus 53. So when we're coding and we're putting negative numbers in there, sometimes that's what's going on. So let's go ahead and scoot back over to our project here. And now with that in mind, for the left arrow key code here, we're going to change that move 10 steps to move minus negative 10 steps, okay? So now, after you get that coded in, click on your left arrow key on your keyboard, and you should see him moving to the left. So if you'll remember a minute ago on the X and Y axis, this side of that axis was all negative numbers, okay? And again, if we hit the right arrow, he's going to go back this direction and towards the positive numbers on that axis. Okay. All right, so we've got him going back and forth, left to right. And now we need to get him going up and down, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So more of the same. Go ahead and grab two more of these. We might as well just speed it up here a bit. Okay. We have a right arrow, a left arrow from left to right. And now we have to do an up arrow. And we'll do the move 10 steps. Okay, and then down here is going to be a down arrow. Move 10 steps. Okay. So for the up arrow, do we want a minus 10 or plus 10? The X and Y axis, I know you can't see it now, but I'm going to leave it as 10 or positive 10. And when I press the up arrow, well, right now when I'm pressing up arrow, he seems to not be going up at all. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's change that number for a minute here. I'm not sure why he's not doing the up arrow command, but he's not. All right, we'll come back to that. Let's put that back to 10 steps. And the down arrow, let's try that one. Okay, there seems to be a little bug going here. The up arrow and down arrow are not doing. Let's see here. I think what we'll do is get rid of these move 10 step blocks. And let's go ahead and let's use the change Y block instead there. Okay. Okay, so that was the trick. So if you notice here, the blue blocks here, move 10 steps, that's corresponding to him going left and right on, or back and forth on the x-axis, the horizontal. So for this blue block of code, I changed over to the y position on that imaginary axis, and that seemed to make the difference. So apologize for that. And we're going to do one more change y by, and then we're going to want a negative 10 there, and he'll go down. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to get those coded, and you should have left, right, and up and down arrows all coded to have him move in those directions. Okay. Okay, so if you're still coding or still working those out, I'd say go ahead and pause the video now. But if not, let's go ahead and continue on. And one thing we're going to want to do just for some housekeeping here is we're going to want him to always start out. Let's say you're playing the game and you end up and he's over here in the corner somewhere. It'd be cool if every time we restarted the game, he started back here in his original spot in the middle, let me think. So we're going to do a little code in order to do that. So let's go ahead and we're going to go up here to the events blocks, or the event button there. And then we're going to grab a when green flag clicked piece of code, and we can just put that right there with the shark, with the other code that's for the shark. It can be by itself, okay? And then we are going to revisit the X and Y positions here and go to the blue motion button. And then let's go ahead and, sorry there, scoot that back. And we're going to go ahead and choose go to X and Y position here. So let's find that on the menu. And there they are. Again, it's go to X position and a Y position. Okay, so dead center here, again on the X and Y axis that we can't see here, but Scratch does recognize it. We're going to put him in the center of the screen, so we're going to choose 0 for the X position and 0 for the Y position, okay? So we can go ahead and try that out and see if that worked by clicking on the green flag, and you should hop there to the center, okay? So that kind of cleans things up in your game. Every time you play a game and stop it and start it again, he'll start back up where he's supposed to be there in the middle, okay? It's more professional for our game design, right? Okay. So let's see. We need the other component to our game, the other fish. So let's go ahead and go back to our sprite library, and I'm going to go to animals, and you can look at there's a lot of creatures in here. I mean, if you want to be a little more creative, you might want to choose a different kind of animal. Here's a jellyfish. He's pretty cool. There's an octopus. If you'd like another fish to be in the game, you can look for one. And I think just for fun, I'm going to do the octopus there and get him in on the action here, okay? All right, so octopus is pretty cool the way he is, but if you want to change the size of your sprites at any time, there's a couple ways to do that. So one way is to go over here to your costumes tab and make sure that your sprite that you want to change is highlighted down here. And then from here, you can click. You should be able to click on your sprite and make changes to the size by dragging on these corners, the little circles there in the corner. If you highlight the whole sprite like that, what I do is I just clicked and dragged this square. That highlights the whole, and then you can change by pulling in and out on your the corner there. You see how he changed his size on the sprite around the stage there. So that's one way to change his shape. I'm going to click over here on the code tab and clear out of there. Another way to change his size is to go over here and just right above this the octopus sprite box there, there's a size field, and you can change that number in there too, and that'll make him smaller or larger depending on what you're going for. Okay, so just a little detail, but it's important for sure. Okay, so right now we're going to go back to the shark, and we're going to do some more code on him. And if you'll notice, there's no code over here in the middle. And just to remind you, you always want to click on the sprite down there in the corner for whichever sprite you're trying to put your code to. All right, so I clicked on the shark there, and there's all his code again. So it didn't go anywhere. It was just out of sight there. So as you'll notice right now, when our shark goes from left to right, he's moving, but he's not facing. When he goes to the left, he's not facing to the left. It's kind of like he's swimming backwards, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever seen a shark swimming backwards before, and I think that's because they can't, right? So we're going to go ahead and add some code so that he'll be facing the right direction when he's moving. So you're going to want to go over here to the motion button, and we're still on the blue blocks there, the motion blocks from before. And we're going to look for point and direction, okay? And it should be down here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to want to look for the left arrow key block, okay? And he's already facing in the same direction when he goes to the right, but just to be thorough, we're going to go ahead and put point and direction on the right arrow, okay? So you'll see here that if you click in the point in direction right where the number is, if you click on that, you should see a little directional guide there pop up. And you can change the number in there by clicking and dragging this dial around, and it'll change the directions. So for example, point in direction, we actually want a negative number for that, so you can pull the hand around there, and let's try negative 90. I think that's gonna be what we want. Let's go ahead and give that a try and see what we get. So when left arrow key pressed, point in direction negative 90, and again that's on the x-axis. We're going to the left, we're going into the negatives there on the axis. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and try that out. Okay. All right, so I'm clicking on the left arrow on my keyboard and he's going to the right. So something's not making sense there. So let's go ahead and check our work. So there's this block again, when left arrow key is pressed, we want point in direction minus 90 and move. Oh, I have minus 10 steps. So let's go ahead and change that number and see what we get. I'm telling that shark two different things, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the left arrow key on my keyboard, and guess what? Now he's going to the left as I'm hitting the left key on the keyboard there. And when I click on the right key, he's going to the right direction, okay? Okay, so that's definitely better. Now he's facing the correct way when he's going to the left. But now there's another problem. He's upside down. So unless that's the effect you're going for, we're going to want to do a little more code in there to fix that. Okay, so to fix that issue, there's another block of code that we're going to look for, which is actually here in the motion blocks, and it's set rotation style. So we're going to want to scroll down and look for set rotation style, and then grab that block of code. And then we're going to put it over here, and we're actually going to slip it right above the go to X and Y position there, which this block here is the one that resets him to the center of the stage every time you start your game. So now it says set rotation style left to right, okay? And then there's a couple other options. If you click on that, don't rotate, or there's an all around. So we're going to leave it as set rotation style left to right. And then let's go ahead and you can click the green flag up there to start, and then we'll see what happens. So now when I'm clicking the left arrow key, go ahead and do it on your computer. Click the left arrow key. He should be going to the left, and also he should be upright, not upside down. Okay, and if you hit the right arrow key, you should be going to the right, just like before. Okay, so that's better. Now he's going from left to right. He's facing the correct direction when he's going either left or right, and he's right side up. So that looks more like a normal shark to me. Okay, so let's go over to the octopus and see what he has going on. So go ahead and click on the octopus sprite down here in the right lower corner. So he's highlighted. Okay, and it's all blank there, right? He needs some code. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and you remember at the beginning when we started and I talked about there's some computer science concepts we're going to be doing hands-on today. So we're going to do one of those right now. And go ahead and go over to the blocks of code, and we're going to go to the events first, and we're going to grab the when the green flag is clicked block. And I don't think I touched on this um, on today's project yet, but this is a good habit to get into, is have something that starts your program, and that when the green flag click block is what does that. And basically that means that when you click this green flag up here, your program starts running and it starts executing whatever code you have down here. And then the red button there, of course, is to stop your code from running in your project. Okay, so one of those three computer science principles we talked about is a loop. Okay, so what is a loop? So in real life, a loop is something that's round, right? It goes around and around. So in coding, a loop is something that happens. It could be either a specific number of times or maybe continuously. So over here in the control blocks, we have a repeat block, and anything that you put inside this block here will repeat. And right now it says repeat 10. So for example, if you were to put move 10 steps into there, your sprite is going to move 10 steps, and then it's going to move 10 steps again a second time, move 10 steps a third time, and it's going to keep moving 10 steps 10 times in a row before it stops. So it's in a loop here. It's moving 10 steps 10 times in a row in that loop, and then it stops once it's done. It's repeated those move 10 steps instructions 10 times in a row. So we can go ahead and run this now. And now he moved there, and he didn't move real far, did he? So let's go ahead, and there's another block that we can use for loops here, and it's the forever loop. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this repeat. And if you look for the forever loop, this means that he is going to keep moving 10 steps, you guessed it, forever. Okay, so this can be handy. Sometimes in your projects, you'll want something that's continuously looping. If you try it here, we're going to go ahead and click the green flag to start. And where'd he go? Yeah, he kept moving, and he is, who knows where. He's not on the stage anymore, though, is he? So that's working, but it's we don't really want him to disappear, do we? So let's go ahead and to find that octopus, we're going to go back to the motion buttons, and then we're going to get a block of code to get him to come back to us here. So let's go ahead and let's see. I'm going to use the go to X and Y position there. There we go. So you can see which one I'm choosing. And then I'm just going to leave the block here. We're not going to keep it. I'm just bringing it out here to get him back. And you see how he came back here when I type in 0 and 0 for the X and Y position. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw that block away. That was just to get him back with us. And we're going to actually do some different code to change things up here, to have a little more control over that octopus and the way he's moving around. So first we're going to slow him down a little bit, and to do that, we're going to go over here to the control button and the control blocks, and there's one for wait a number of seconds. Right now it's on wait 1 second. So let's go ahead and drag that over and put it in with the move 10 steps forever. Okay, that's going to slow him down for us. And then in order to get him to stop going off the stage, we're going to go back up here to the motion button, and we're going to look for a block if on edge bounce, and you should be able to find that towards the bottom there of those blocks. And this is a good one because whenever he touches one of the edges, one of those four edges of the screen, he's going to bounce off the edge and stay somewhere on the stage here. So let's go ahead and after you get the if on edge bounce block added, go ahead and hit the green flag and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so my guy is moving. He's moving pretty slow, but let's see what happens when he hits the side edge there of the screen. I think I'm going to have to code him so he moves a little faster. Okay, he's getting close. All right, so he hit the screen, and what happened? He bounced off, and he's scooting back over. All right, so let's go ahead and change the wait 1 second here to something a little, let's try to speed it up here a little bit, maybe 0.5, 0.5, and then you can hit the enter key on your keyboard and try that. Okay, so you can see he's moving a little bit faster now, but could probably even speed that up more. So I'll go ahead and leave him like that for now. And so right now these guys are moving around and starting to look a little bit like that game we saw at the beginning. But you still need it to look a little more natural and also more random. So in order to do that, we're going to add some more code. And for the octopus to be more random in his movement, we're going to want to go over here to the motion blocks. And we're going to choose one of the turned a number of degrees blocks there. So I'm going to choose the turn 15 degrees clockwise block. And we're going to go ahead and drop that right down in here underneath the loop here with the moving. Okay, so right now mine shows turn 10 or 15 degrees, and I'm going to choose it to change it to 10. Okay, so let's see what happens here. After you get that block added, go ahead and hit the green flag to start your program, and let's see what's going on there. Okay, looks like he's floating a little bit, so okay, that's better. Let's see what happens when he hits the top. Oops, so he's bouncing and turning, so all right, it's looking better. Still needs some work, but we're getting there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over to a new button here, operators. Okay, and operators are blocks of code that we can use that will take in different values. It could be a number, it could be a text, a word, and then it will return a single value back. So that may be a little bit sound a little bit hard to conceptualize. So let's go ahead and just get the pick random block here. And we're actually going to, if you do real carefully, you hover it over, we're going to go to the turn 10 degrees block there. And if you hover it over, you should see that number field highlight. You can just drop this green block right into there. It should pop right in there. Doesn't look like it'll fit, but it makes room. Okay, so now the block is saying when he turns, it's going to pick a random position 1 to 10 degrees here. So let's go ahead and hit the green flag and see what happens. Okay. So you can change these numbers around, but this is a good place to leave it for now. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our program again here. See what we have going. So we have the octopus there, kind of floating around, and if you hit the keys on your keyboard, you got your shark. You know, he's cruising around looking for a meal. But they're not really interacting at all. You know, when they come up to one another, there's nothing happens. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do some more coding so that when they do touch, when the shark and the octopus touch, some things will happen. Okay, so make sure your octopus sprite is highlighted down here in the lower corner because we're going to go ahead and add some more code to him. And we're going to go over and go to the control button over here under our blocks of code. And now we're going to go into another one of those computer science concepts. And this one is conditional statements. So if you look at these, some of these blocks will have an if-then label on there, okay? So those if-then, those are conditional statements. So basically, these are blocks of code that will run if certain conditions exist in your other rest of your code, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to choose the first if-then block. And we're going to actually just drop it right here in the forever loop and just pop it in down there. So everything is going to continue happening as before. The octopus is going to be floating around randomly. He's going to bounce on the edge, bounce off of the edge if he hits it. But with the conditional statement, if something happens here, then something else is going to happen down below. So there's a diamond shape here, and that's actually where we're going to drop some more code into that little diamond shape there in the if-then block. So go over here to the code tab, and we're going to go to the sensing blocks. And in here, this is pretty fun. This is where we can get a lot more dynamic things happening when your sprites are interacting on stage. So we're going to look for the touching mouse pointer block, which is actually on top here. And we're going to click and drag that, and we're going to put it right down here inside that little diamond there. It should drop right in there. So if touching mouse pointer, then. So go ahead and click on mouse pointer, and you should get a couple other options on your drop-down menu. And we want him to be something to happen if he touches that shark. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is when that shark and this octopus meet up or collide, if you will. I don't know if you remember in the example earlier, that octopus disappeared. The effect we were going for was basically the shark ate him. So in order for that octopus to disappear, we're going to go over here to the looks button there. And we're going to look for a block of code that is hide. Just a little block of code, hide. Okay, so go ahead and drag hide. And we're going to drop it right down here in our if-then block. So now it reads, if the octopus is touching the shark, then he's going to hide. So let's go ahead and hit the green flag and see what happens. Let's get this going here. Your shark should be coded, so you should be able to get down there, and guess what? He ate him. Or so it seems, so it looks, but that's the effect we're going for, okay? So your octopus should have disappeared once he touched the shark sprite there. If it's not working for some reason, I would advise pausing this video, rewind it a little bit, and check your code. Look real close at your code. it's not uncommon for there to be bugs as you're doing this work. So don't feel bad if it's not working. I know it can be frustrating, but it's part of the process, and it's really not uncommon at all for there to be bugs and troubleshooting that needs to be done whenever you're coding. So, all right. So this is pretty cool. Getting back to our game design here. We have the shark and the octopus getting a little bit more interaction happening here. But the problem is once your octopus disappears, once he's eaten, so to speak, that's kind of it right now. How do we get him back? Because we want this game to continue on. We want him to, come back so the shark can continue hunting, and you can, try to get that score up there, right? So what we're going to do is use another looks block, and this time we're going to look for one that is show, okay? Okay. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the shark sprite. So go over here to the shark sprite, and we're going to want to go and just have things be a little bit more orderly. Back here with the green flag, when the green flag is clicked, that starts our program. We're going to want to put that show block of code over there, okay? So this is a good way to code because it keeps things in order. Every time you click that green flag, you're restarting your program. A couple things are going to happen every time, right off the bat. Your octopus is going to show up again. The rotation style is going to be already happening, and the third thing down there, your shark is going to start there in the center of the screen. So let's go ahead and make sure that's working. So go ahead and click the green flag. And hopefully your octopus is showing back up. Okay. So I'm not seeing my octopus. Well, let's see what's going on here. I'm going to check my code. See what what could the problem be here. When click shows rotation style. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to everything looks like it's set up here, but I'm going to go ahead and take the show block and remove that. I know I told you to put it there before, but let's go ahead and if what we're doing isn't working, let's try something else because the code looks like it's correct here. So I'm going to go back over to the octopus, and let's go ahead and have him over here. And I'm going to put the show up here because there is also a green flag when green flag click block there that starts the program. And let's go ahead and try that out. And voila, there's our octopus. He's back. So, all right. So let's leave that show block of code assigned to the octopus and his code blocks there at the very top. So every time you start your program, he's going to show back up again, even if the shark eats him, okay? All right, so that's pretty good solution, except the next thing we're realizing is we don't want to have to stop and start the game every time to get that octopus to show up again, right? So there's got to be a better way. So let's go ahead and we're going to go back and we're going to go back into the octopus code and we're going to change things around a bit. So let's go ahead and we're going to get rid of that show. We're going to move that show block. And let's go ahead and code it a little differently. Now, if you look down here, we're starting to get kind of filled up here. We're getting a lot of blocks of code here. We're going to leave these alone. And in the if-then section here of the code, we're going to actually put some other code in here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take a look here for a moment. Bear with me. Okay. And so I'm looking at the code here, and I think we're going to leave, we're looking at this part of the code down here. If on the edge, we're going to leave that. He's going to bounce. If he's touching the shark, he's going to hide. Okay. And then we're going to go back up here to the blue motion button, and we're going to choose the go to X and Y position block. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and drop that down here. And then we're going to go back over to our operators again. And we're going to choose the pick random block. We're going to drop one in here, and then we're also going to grab another one of those pick random blocks and drop it over here. Okay, so what's going to happen now is the idea here is that the shark is going to, whenever the shark and the octopus touch, the octopus is going to disappear, or he's going to look like he was eaten. But then we want him to come back again. We want that octopus sprite to come back and keep swimming around and randomly, so the shark can keep trying to go after him in our game, right? And he can keep trying to get a high score. So let's go ahead and let's click the green flag and see what happens. So same as before, the octopus should be swimming around, the shark should be doing his thing. When the shark gets the octopus should disappear. And now the octopus is not showing back up again. What are we missing here? Oh, look down here. And the show block, it's not going to work if it's over here floating around by itself. So let's go ahead and put the show block right down here. So if you'll see here, from the if-then statement, if those two connect, if they touch each other, the octopus is going to hide or disappear. And then even though he's disappeared, the code is telling that octopus sprite to go to a random X and Y position and then show back up again. So let's go ahead and try that and see if what I just mentioned is working here. Okay, so I click the green flag, and the shark's there, ready for action, and no octopus to be seen. So I'm not seeing the octopus, and I'm thinking we probably want to add another show block up at the top. So let's go ahead and try that. And that's up here so that he will, well, I changed my mind. We shouldn't have to start the game over again. We did this earlier, so pardon me. Let me get rid of that. Let's check our code here. So we have, I'm going to read this from top to bottom. If you're having a hard time seeing this on your computer screen, if you're watching this on YouTube, I would recommend watching it on the YouTube. Go to the actual YouTube website, and this screen will be a lot larger, and then you can actually hit the full screen option on the YouTube website page for this project. Okay, I probably should have mentioned that quite a while ago, but I guess better late than never. So anyways, reading from top to bottom, when the green flag is clicked, we get this forever loop started. And in the forever loop, we have the octopus. He's moving 10 steps, and then he's turning in a random number of degrees. He's pausing. And then if he goes to one of the edges, he's going to bounce off. Okay, and then as that loop continues, if he touches that shark at any point, he's going to hide. Okay, and after he hides, he's going to go to another position on the X and Y axis, and then he's going to show back up again. So it looks like everything is coded here to work correctly, but he's not showing back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another block in here. I'm sorry, I'm clicking around here under the control buttons. Control button, I'm going to go to the weight block, which we used before. Let's see, where is that? Oh, here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and give a little pause between when he hides and when he shows back up again. Let's see if that makes a difference, okay? Let's go ahead and click the green flag. And still no sign of that octopus. So I'm going to go back over to the shark, the shark sprite block there, and check the code there. Make sure this. Sometimes if you put code in the wrong spot, it can affect other things indirectly. So I just want to look at the shark code and see if there's any code there that might be interfering with what we want the octopus to be doing. Okay, so let me go ahead and look through my notes here and see if there's anything I can do, something I might be missing here. Okay. Just triple checking my code here. Okay. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to add another, go back up here to the looks button, and I'm going to try to add that show block, another show block. We have one down here, but we're going to put another one up here at the top again. I'm going to see if that makes a difference. Let's see here. Okay, we're starting our game. I hit the green flag. The shark's going to eat our octopus, and our octopus disappeared. He was eaten, and he showed back up. And let's go get him again. And I think that did the trick. Okay. So what's happening here, just to go back through, we did a little problem solving there, but basically, when we're starting the game, the octopus code is showing that he is showing up on the screen. Then this forever loop is happening with all those other blocks of code inside. He's moving, he's turning, if he's on the edge, he bounces, if he touches the shark, he hides, and then he waits, and then he shows up again. Okay? So we have that guy where we want him and doing what we need him to do, and we're going to go ahead and just move on here because we're getting close to the end of our project, and I know we've gone through quite a bit today, so I want to kind of just try to wrap things up here. So last element here we're looking for is the score. So this is also one of our coding concepts that we said we were going to go over today and apply. So if you go over here to the blocks and you go to the variables button, let's talk about variables. So if you click on that orange variables button, you should have all of this showing here. So what is a variable? So in coding, a variable is it's code that it acts kind of like a container, kind of like a box, if you will. If you can picture a cardboard box, maybe you're moving or something, and you can put things inside that box or container. Okay, and then in coding, it's going to be information. It's not going to be a physical thing, right? It's going to be some kind of information. So let's go ahead and actually apply this in action here in our project. And we're actually going to want to choose this make a variable box up here, this button, and we're actually going to create a brand new variable. And you can name this whatever you want to, but I'm going to just name mine score, right? And then this other below your variable name field, there's for all sprites, or for this sprite only. You're going to just leave it on for all sprites and click OK. Okay, so now look up here on the stage in the upper left corner. You should have a little scoreboard there, right? Okay, so there's our container. And so now what we want to do is code it so that whenever the fish and the octopus meet up, the octopus is going to lose. He's going to be gobbled up by the shark, and then the shark is going to get a point on that score. Okay, so going back over, we're still in the variables over here, and we're going to want to add some code to that. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and click on your shark sprite down here in the lower right corner. We're going to the code for the score is going to actually be on with the rest of the code here for the shark. So so we have looking over here on the when the green flag is clicked, there's the rotation style is set, the X position and Y position for the shark is set, and then we're also going to set the score. So go ahead and choose the set my variable to 0. Choose that block, and we're going to drag that over, and we're going to just drop it right here at the top. So every time we start the game, it's going to reset the score to 0. So if you click on the My Variable field there, you should get a drop-down menu, and you're going to want to choose Score. So now it says whenever you click that green flag, it's going to set your score back to 0. So basically, every time you stop, hit the stop button up here, and then start the green flag again, your game is going to restart. So whatever score you get, it's going to reset to 0 every time, so it clears out. That's good game design. Keep things clean, because you don't want to keep playing the same game with the same score, and it's going to get pretty messy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're getting close to the end now. If you can just stick with me here, go back to the octopus sprite down here and click on him. And now we're going to add just a little bit more to the octopus code. So we're going to go back over here on the variables blocks, and we're going to choose to change my variable by 1. Okay, so go ahead and click and drag on that, and we're going to drop it right down under here for the if the fish is touching, or rather the octopus is touching the shark block there, the if-then statement. So if he's touching, something's going to happen. You're going to click on change score from the drop-down menu there by 1. Okay, so let's see what happens. click on the green flag, and oops, whoa, it's working really well. Well, on my example, my score has already changed from 0 to I'm up to 5 now. They've been bumping into each other, but to show it again here in a slower example, right now my score is on 5, and when that shark gets that octopus, the score goes up. And the score is going up like crazy because the every time the octopus is regenerating there, he's bumping into the shark. So the score is going through the roof. It's already up to 12 now. So there's some more design tweaking there that can be done so the score is not going up so high so quickly. They're bumping into each other a lot. The score is at 12 now, and chomp. The score is 13. Chomp 14. Okay, so I think you get the idea. Hopefully your game is working, and if not, check the code. This video will be accessible on the library website, and you'll be able to go back here and access this and compare the code I have here with your code on your project page on your Scratch account. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up for today. And thanks so much for coming back and joining us for this week 2 of Coder Dojo. Next week we will be the video will be uploaded at the same time next Tuesday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. And we'll have a new project and new things to learn and more fun to be had, hopefully. And if you have any questions, my email address here, you can reach me that way, or you can call the Victory Library and ask for me. I don't have my phone number up here, but if you call the main number, they can track me down. The main number there is 208-362-0181. So anyways, this is Derek signing off. You guys learned a lot today. And again, feel good for whatever you accomplished. If your game isn't complete or if it isn't all working, don't be discouraged. Just keep at it. But I'd say make sure you take breaks regularly. Get up, walk around, let your brain rest a little bit, and things will work out for sure. So take care, and we will see you next week.